What if I told you that joint pain may not just be an inevitable part of aging, but a condition with a specific identifiable cause, one that's hidden in your DNA? That's right. According to recent findings from researchers connected to Harvard, there's mounting evidence that certain types of joint pain, especially the kind that lingers, worsens, and limits your mobility, can be traced back not just to wear and tear, but to a particular gene that may be silently influencing your body's ability to maintain healthy joints. So if you've been told it's just your age, that may not be the whole story. In fact, it may not be true at all. Now let's talk about this gene. It's called GDF5. It's been studied extensively over the last decade, but recent breakthroughs are changing how we think about joint degeneration. GDF5 is responsible for producing a protein that plays a key role in joint development and repair. When this gene is expressed properly, it helps maintain the cartilage in your joints, in that smooth, cushioning tissue that allows your bones to glide over one another without pain. But here's where it gets interesting or concerning, depending on how you look at it. A small mutation or variation near this gene can reduce its expression. That means your body isn't producing enough of the proteins needed to protect and rebuild cartilage. And this isn't theory anymore. This has been observed in studies across large populations. So what does this mean in real life? It means that some people are biologically predisposed to joint pain, not because they're more active or more sedentary, but because their bodies are simply less equipped to keep their joints healthy as they age. That's a game changer. It shifts the conversation from just get older and accept it to let's identify what's actually happening inside your body. And once you understand the mechanism, you can take real targeted steps toward relief and even reversal. But wait, if the cause is genetic, does that mean it's irreversible? Not necessarily. Genetics load the gun, but environment pulls the trigger. In other words, the presence of this gene variation doesn't guarantee you'll suffer from joint pain. It just means your risk is higher. Your lifestyle still plays a huge role. Diet, exercise, inflammation control, stress, even sleep. All of these influence how your genes are expressed. That's the exciting field of epigenetics. You may not be able to change the blueprint, but you can absolutely influence how that blueprint is read. So now the question becomes, if this gene, or more accurately, these gene regulators near GDF5 are influencing cartilage loss, what can you do about it? First, you support the body's natural repair systems. That means anti-inflammatory nutrition, targeted joint supplements, and controlled movement. Foods rich in omega-3s like salmon or flaxseed have been shown to reduce inflammation. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has demonstrated protective effects on cartilage in clinical studies. And then there's collagen, and specifically type 2 collagen, which may help your body rebuild the very tissue that GDF5 is struggling to maintain. But here's another angle. Harvard scientists have also identified something else near GDF5, a regulatory element, almost like a dimmer switch for the gene. This switch appears to determine how strongly the gene is expressed, and here's the shocker. The variation of this switch that lowers expression, the one linked to higher rates of joint degeneration, is incredibly common. In fact, studies suggest up to 50% of people in certain populations carry this version. That means millions of people are walking around with a hidden disadvantage, and they don't even know it. They think they're just unlucky, or aging poorly, or that maybe they should have exercised less or more, when in reality it's their biology trying to function with one hand tied behind its back. Now, why is this important? Because when you understand that your pain has a specific cause, not a vague aging process, it empowers you. It allows you to focus on solutions. We've already seen some promising developments in regenerative medicine that focus on restoring GDF5 function. But until those are widely available, there are evidence-based ways to support your joints naturally. Gentle movement like swimming or yoga keeps joints lubricated and muscles strong without causing further wear. Supplements that include glucosamine, chondroitin, MSM, or hyaluronic acid may also help. And perhaps most importantly, reducing systemic inflammation through diet and sleep hygiene can directly impact how your joints feel day to day. But let's pause for a second. If you've been in pain for years and you're hearing this now, you might be thinking, why hasn't anyone told me this before? And that's a fair question. The medical system often treats joint pain as a mechanical problem. Cartilage wears down, so the joint hurts. End of story. But biology is rarely that simple. There are layers, genetics, inflammation, hormone signaling, even gut health, all interacting. That's why one person with mild arthritis on an X-ray might be in agony, while someone else with more severe damage barely feels a thing. It's not just about what's broken, it's about how your body responds to the damage. And speaking of response, there's a fascinating idea emerging in the field of pain science, that chronic joint pain is sometimes less about the joint and more about how the nervous system has adapted to constant discomfort. Over time, your brain becomes more sensitive to pain signals, even if the physical damage doesn't worsen. So managing stress, improving sleep, and even practicing mindfulness can have measurable effects on joint pain. It's all connected. So where does this leave us? With clarity and with options. Joint pain, especially when persistent, is not random. It's not just old age, it's not bad luck. There are causes. And some of those causes, like this GDF5 gene regulation, are now being uncovered in high-level research institutions like Harvard. That knowledge isn't just interesting, it's useful. Because once you know what you're dealing with, you can take action. You can support your body with the right nutrition. You can incorporate the kind of movement that helps, not harms. You can be proactive instead of reactive. And you can stop blaming yourself for pain that was never your fault in the first place. And if you'd like a place to start, something that aligns with the research and supports joint health from multiple angles, I've included a link in the description to a product I often recommend. It's built on ingredients shown in peer-reviewed studies to help reduce inflammation and support cartilage integrity. Take a look and see if it's right for you. If you found this helpful, or if you want more real science delivered in plain language, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'll be sharing more about what's really happening inside the body and how to support it in ways that work. Because once you understand the cause, everything changes. And relief stops feeling like a mystery and starts feeling possible again.